Well, hey, all you crazy gardeners. Hey, today we're going to go take a field trip. We're going to go visit this guy's house who does a permaculture style landscaping. And he just got a regular residential lot that he turned his rock yard into a food forest where everything is lush and green and edible landscaping. So we're going to go over and check out his yard. This guy is a plantaholic. I was told he goes to Plantaholics Anonymous meetings, but I think he fell off the wagon in spring, so he stopped going. You can see here, this neighborhood's mostly a lot of rock yards, but he's turned his rock yard into edible landscaping, permaculture style, with overstory trees, understory fruit trees, and shrubs that are edible, root crops, vines. And you can tell the difference. Everybody else's rock yards, and looks like he's got all kinds of stuff growing on over there. So we're gonna go check out what he's doing. Wow. Looks kind of familiar. Oh, wait a minute. That's my house. Well, I guess we'll have to do an update. What's going on? Well, right at the edge of my yard, we got some Tropicana with the orange flowers. Pecan is just barely starting to bud out, getting its leaves. Down here, I'm growing some flax. So we're gonna get some flowers, and the flax seeds, we'll harvest those and use them in our diet. Jamaican Cherry, it's just waiting for the heat to come on. It was giving me cherries all winter, but now it just wants to focus on growing again, but it loves the heat, so we'll go get that. I got all these Thai basils that went to seed. Probably cut all those out, let some more grow in here. Valencia orange. Still got some oranges on it, but it's got a whole bunch of new fruit that popped on because it just got done blooming. Look at the artichokes right here. And this is the Santa Rosa Plum. This has barely woke up, but it's got flowers on it for the first time, so we might get some plums this year. And at the end of the early amber peach. It's got tons of peaches on it. I've actually took a whole bunch off already. I'm gonna have to thin it out some more. But you can see it's got tons of fruit. And there's my yellow passion fruit. I cut it all off of this area right here because I got a purple variety of passion fruit growing right here that I planted last fall. So it's going to be along this area right here. Another artichoke. Meyer lemons, got tons of flowers. Still got some carrots and some my leek bed. Those are just from the seeds that I saved from last year. This is all chocolate, peppermint, my favorite. Now my apple trees, last year they looked horrible because the leaves on this tree were looking like this. This is from last year. This year it's looking a little bit better because I've been amending the soil, so the leaves are coming back a little bit stronger. But my Anna apple, the leaves are perfect because this one looked like this last year. This year it's much healthier, so just got to keep working on the soil and do my foliar feeds, but it is still producing fruit. I did see an apple on this one here. Oh, there it is. There's one there, but the golden dorset has got a few, you can see. And over here I have an heirloom tomato that I put the seeds in the ground a year ago, never came up. They decided to come up in January. Can you believe it? So I staked them up But it's loaded with these little pear-like cherry tomatoes, and they're absolutely phenomenal. They're delicious. This is an elderberry planted last year, and this year it took off. Coral vine overwintered. Now it's going to grow up my moringa. Now I'm hoping to have one of these pups back here flower the next month or two, so we'll finally have a rack of bananas. That's what I'm hoping. Should be ready to fruit. The little Mandy mango back there, doing just fine. That's the seedling that I planted. I started from seed, that mango tree. Now over here, this is the Lang jujube, just starting to get its leaves. It's got a few flowers on it too. I wonder if it'll produce any fruit this year. Still young. I have an Aunt Anmeyer. It's about 7 or 8 feet back in the backyard. It's probably do better. This is the Burbank Peach. It's got some flowers on it. Just put this in the ground 2 weeks ago as a bare root persimmon. This is a Fuyu Euro persimmon, but it's got the buds coming out, so it's gonna start growing. Looks like it rooted. Loquat, looking healthy. All the flowers. Over here I got some chia. Those are all going to be chia flowers. Harvest the chia seeds. Put those in our foods for the health. And this is just barely starting to get its new growth, the Royal Poinciana. But I do have the Dutch iris blooming under there, and all those lantana under there, those were planted by, I don't know, there was a volunteer lantana that I pulled out and transplanted, and they rooted right there. So they're going to be adding some green and color underneath the Royal Poinciana. This is going to be filling out once it gets hot. You can just see the new leaves are just barely starting to come out. Just loves the heat. And over here on the side of the driveway, you see the Barbados cherries. I'm starting to get some flowers on it. They usually give me some fruit in May and June. But the Asian white guava, it's got tons of fruit. Haven't had any yet this year, but there are a few that are getting ready to get ripe pretty soon. These are kind of small. But these, I've been harvesting one a day of these. This is Ruby, my Ruby Red Supreme. She's been laying some down on the ground for me. I had 3 of them yesterday. I don't see any today. No gifts for me today, but I do see one. It's ready. Looks like this one. Yep, it's ready. Yeah. Snack in your garden. Look at that. Now right in the middle here, I used to have that wonderful pomegranate, but I dug it out, transplanted it into the backyard, cut all the other branches off, just have 1 liter, because I wanted to let the guavas grow here. So I got some sweet onions there. And back there you see a newly planted blackberry. So this whole area right here will be for the blackberries. And last year I planted some dragon fruit at the bottom there, and look what it's doing. It's trying to climb up the tree. That was the idea that I had. I wanted to see what it'd do on its own. I have dragon fruit. Look at this. Just put it in the ground. Now it's starting to grow, and it's just hanging onto the tree. It'll probably climb all the way up to the top of the tree. I can see this mess right here. I had to cut all these branches out of here except for that one. It was too high. This tree was almost the death of me, trying to get these branches cut out of here. That one's about 30 feet up. I'm gonna have to have somebody cut that limb. I'm trying to cut it right at the edge of the property here, because this is on the east side, so it'll get a lot more morning sun. If I get some sunlight in here, everything will probably grow better, like these Suriname cherries. And those mangoes are looking kind of raggedy, even though I have one that's blooming. They got damaged too because one of the branches fell on it. So we'll see how they recover. If not, I can always put another one in there. The center, lots of opportunity. Now that I get some more sun, lots of opportunity for other plantings. Like that banana, looks like it rooted over the winter. I planted it last fall from a pup that was by my other ones. There's that red Slovakia pomegranate hedge over there. And we'll go take you in the backyard real quick, show you what we got there. You can see the sweet almond bush there. Should start spreading the flowers out. And behind that is our old Hami bamboo. Got some more moringa to cut back. I didn't cut a lot of the branches out with all the ones I cut back in February. I have to get those cut out and mulched because they're flowering like crazy right now. But that bamboo is shading the house very nicely on the western side. See on that archway there, I had that snail vine, cut it all the way to the ground in January. And this stuff has been growing about a foot a day. Now look how it wraps itself around these poles. I haven't done anything to train this. It just wraps itself around and climbs over, and it's already halfway over. It's been getting in the 80s and 90s recently. Over here, avocados getting some new growth, new leaves, getting rid of all the old ones. And it was blooming like mad, so hopefully we'll see some avocados, baby avocados forming. It just got done blooming, but look how tall this thing is. I cut it back up on top. I want it to stop growing, start producing. Another pomegranate. There's the Arizona Aravaipa right there. Avocado. In the back there is the star fruit and the ice cream bean. This was just planted. This is the tropic sweet. Yeah. It's an apple. Low chill apple. I think it might have a couple of apples. I saw some flowers on it. But it's growing very rapidly. I get really good trees from Reed over at RSI Growers. And back there is the Aunt Admire Jujube. Pecan, waking up and getting into new leaves. You can see all this growth in here. It's all ryegrass and radishes, and there's brassicas in there, and sunflowers, and what else do I got in there? Should be some alfalfa. I'm growing that cover crop for the chickens. I'm just waiting for those sunflowers to get a little bit taller so that they don't knock them down or dig them up. I want them to go a little bit taller, so maybe in a couple weeks I'll let them out here and they'll forage on all this nutritious green growth, and all the worms and bugs and grubs return back to the soil here so they can dig up those for protein. See, the pathway's got some ryegrass that I've been cutting back. Got clover on the right, and they're in the beds here. I got celery. Look at this one right here. This one right here, I cut that all the way back to the dirt just about 6 weeks ago, and juiced up all the celery for juice, and it grew back. So don't pull out your celery, just cut it back and it'll grow back. This is a little bit fibrous for me, so I just juice them for the celery juice. But still got some cauliflower here. Russian red kale. We got some snow peas. We got some dill, onions. We got some, all this came up from seed. Those are spinach, beets back there, snow peas. Back here's what I've been harvesting all winter, the curly kale. Been doing very well. Elderberry. Muscadine grape came back and it's starting to go over the trellis. This right here is my white ale pears. You can see how vertical they grow, so I started bending a couple of the branches a little bit more at an angle, and when they get hardened off, they'll make the tree a little bit more wide. All the chickens, got some oregano and rosemary, cilantro, a bunch of cherry tomatoes here staked up. You can see it back here, back in the corner there. I got my Loquat that's doing very nicely back there. It's that on the top there. It's all brand new growth. It just popped out this past month. It's in a perfect spot as a newly planted Loquat, right on the north side of these mulberries. Pakistani mulberries. You can see all the mulberries on it. Some are starting to turn some color here too. Pretty soon. Apricots. See the apricots on here. And mulberry back there, they're going to start ripening. It's just loaded on the inside. There's thousands and thousands of mulberries on that tree. All the way to the top. Courtyard, the grass is starting to green up. There's the neem tree. Shades the shed in the morning. Grapevines have been coming alive. I've been trimming them back because they've been growing so vigorously. Roses, Mandy's roses. And here I had a whole bunch of hollyhocks come up from the hollyhocks I had last year from seeds. So I transplanted a bunch of them, but they got some pink ones right here that are blooming. But I planted some curry seeds back in here, so I'm hoping to have some curry popping up here soon, so I can grow that over here. And this is the Cattleya guava, or the strawberry guava. It's been getting tons of new leaves. Strawberries down there, overwintered, starting to spread. And this is the fruit punch mango. It's been loaded with flowers, and the flies have been busy pollinating them. Did you guys know that flies pollinated mangoes, not bees? It's just the scent it gives off, so it attracts the flies. And they just crawl around all the flowers and pollinate, and then you can see little baby mangoes. See, like these baby mangoes there. So this year I'm going to let it fruit because this is its 4th year here. It should be strong enough. I might have to prop it up a little bit, but it has all these baby mangoes on it. See how many it holds on. Look at all these baby mangoes. Fruit punch mango. The name of this tree is called High C. Jaboticaba, flushed out with all this brand new growth. Longevity spinach. And back over by the pond where I've been procrastinating on the waterfall, but finally starting to get it built up. Over here we got lemongrass on this edge. Oh, at the base of the grapevines, I did plant some Kabocha melons, or Japanese pumpkins, from seed. So all along the base here, we're going to have the Kabocha melons. Look at all these grapes.
forming already. And April in Phoenix. It's like summer up north. All the rose bushes. This is the newly planted Florida Prince Peach that replaced the one that I killed from not getting any water, I guess. I wasn't checking the soil. That was in the front yard. So this place gets a lot more water, so it should do really well here. So we can get peaches right out of our courtyard. Figs. Bamboo is already growing tall. It's gonna be as tall as the other one next year. Yeah, what is that? About 8 feet tall now. This is the blue bamboo. I've been getting some water plants, so that's what I'm gonna do this afternoon. I'm gonna get in the pond and get the pots out and rework them because I got some lilies to plant. And I put some water lettuce in there, and I got some cattails to plant to start shading this. You can see the tilapia and catfish down there. Can you see them? I don't know how well it shows up. But they're swimming down there. They're a lot more active now that the water's warmed up. Got the baby catfish, the bigger catfish. Future food supply. And back in the back wall, I had the two papayas that overwintered. Did fine on that southern exposure wall. Kept the heat. Canna. And you can see over here I got my wheat crop. So this year I'm gonna have enough to have some flour for sourdough. But that last row I'll save for planting in December. Since about maybe a quarter of that last row is all I had last year, and I saved every kernel, and this is what I got from saving all the seeds. So I got 4 rows, so maybe next year I can have 8 rows of wheat. Who knows, maybe I'll have this whole bed nothing but wheat. Be like a barrel of gold. There's some beets growing there. I just planted some sweet corn. After the sweet corn is harvested, I'll probably plant some Aztec corn for some cornmeal. And I got Mexican lime. It's been doing very nicely there. Overwintered, now it's getting a lot of green growth. It's trumpet vine. Doing nicely there. It's going to fill up this whole area with green in color. And here's that pomegranate that I transplanted, that wonderful. You see it took root and looks like it's getting out some new leaves on it. So it's going to do fine here. But I got rid of most of my rocks, and so I've been digging all this dirt for my waterfall build. And over here, this little stick is the chocolate persimmon. It was bare root, so it still hasn't broken bud. Over in here, you see the long gone. Got tons of flowers for the long gone fruit. And there's my dragon fruit trellis. So this summer I'll start growing into that trellis and over it. Been harvesting a few asparagus in here. Except for those skinny ones, those are only a year old, so I won't be able to harvest any of those until next year. This star fruit, getting lots of new growth. This is the Australian finger lime, and I saw some flowers on it. I don't know what's gonna, it might even be forming the fruit. I think those might even be the fruit because it was flowering. Maybe we'll get some finger limes. Back in the back here, after its this will be his 3rd season on this persimmon, the Seiyo persimmon, Japanese persimmon. And that's about all I got right now, but always planting new stuff. Oh, this is the Hong Kong orchid. been blooming. This tree is going to be replacing this non-fruiting pear. It's just barely waking up, but it was half dead when we moved in, and I've been cutting the branches out. You can see all the branches. I cut 5 branches out this past February that were dead. So I said, well, I'm just gonna keep building this soil after I took the concrete out and plant something I really want here. Was the Hong Kong orchid to replace it. So we'll replace it with all the beautiful growth here and beautiful flowers in the spring. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. I'll talk to you later.